Somebody needs to warn Ivanka Trump that her husband is in love with someone else. And that someone else actually happens to be an entire country, the country of Saudi Arabia. Jared Kushner is 100% in the pocket of the Saudis. And we know that based on the report that came out yesterday showing that Jared Kushner actually tried to inflate an arms deal with Saudi Arabia to $110 billion. See, initially, the Pentagon was trying to sell about $15 billion worth of weapons to the Saudi regime. And then Jared Kushner, back in 2017, went over there, met with them, had a wonderful time, and he said, quote, "We need to sell them as much as possible." That was in May of 2017. We need to sell them as much as possible. And then he went to work trying to convince the Pentagon to up the deal from $15 billion to $110 billion worth of arms and weapons and tanks and jets and all kinds of things that the Saudis will then use to start killing everyone around them. Now, this deal did not quite come to fruition, at least not yet, but it still could. The Trump administration is actually hoping to sell about $400 billion worth of weapons to Saudi Arabia, according to report by ABC News, actually. But nonetheless, this little thing with Kushner being in love with the Saudis and trying to sell them as many weapons as possible, his words, it also helps to show us why Donald Trump refuses to do anything about this regime after it was confirmed by our own CIA that they killed Khashoggi. They killed the journalist. And Trump says, well, we can't really do anything. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but we've got such a good financial relationship with them that, hey, is one life worth ending that over? Hell no. It is. It is. Not just his life, not just Khashoggi, but every single life that Saudi Arabia has taken in the countries around them. In Yemen. You know those buses full of children that they just keep killing? That's worth ending these arms deals. They're killing those people with American-made weapons. Yeah, that's not worth it. Nothing with our relationship with Saudi Arabia is worth it, not even the oil. You know why? Do you know where most of the oil in the United States comes from? Canada. It comes from Canada, not Saudi Arabia. Hell, we get a lot of it from Mexico too. Those two countries combined make up over 60% of the imports of oil here in the United States. Our two neighbors, north and south. That's where we get most of our oil. And yet Saudi Arabia, who Trump is saying his hard deal with them has helped lower gas prices, that's not true whatsoever. They're an oil cartel. They're a bloodthirsty dictatorial regime, and we need to cut all ties with them and put harder sanctions on them than we have ever put on any country in the history of sanctions. They are disgusting. We do not need a relationship with them. We do not need an alliance with them. They are not our friends. The first opportunity they get, they will use those weapons against us to stab us right in the back. But the Trump administration doesn't care about that. All they see are dollar signs. Like when Trump said a year or so ago that they buy a lot of condos from him, $40 to $50 million worth. Jared Kushner secretly meeting with them actually during the 2016 presidential campaign. You want to find collusion? Maybe focus a little less on Russia, go focus more on Saudi Arabia and the UAE. We know that those meetings took place. We know that Eric Prince, Blackwater founder of the private mercenary firm, we know that he helped arrange those. We also know that he's been snared up in Robert Mueller's investigation as well. There are things happening here between this administration and Saudi Arabia that need to be brought to light. There is something shady going on here, and at the heart of all of it is Jared Kushner.